Okay, hello, welcome to the fifth video in this programming walkthrough series, and in this video we are going to be adding some color to the animation, i.e. making the balls different colored, basically. Okay, so let's first think about representing color in computers. We've already seen that we can represent color using a mixture of red, green, and blue. And this is fine, but it's not very easy to think about as a human. So there's another system called HSLA, or just HSL, which also uses three numbers like RGB. Well, the alpha is the fourth one, and the first one, H, is the hue, which you might think of as being like the color, but of course we're specifying color, so clearly that's not the whole story. But it's the degree along the color wheel, i.e. how far round you are. So 0 degrees would be red, and 360 degrees would also be red because you've come right the way around. And I think 180 degrees would be kind of like a turquoisey color. Okay, and the second number, S, is the saturation, how saturated the color is, how kind of like strong is it, and then the L is the lightness, I think, or is it luma? I think it's lightness. I'll check. And then A is the alpha, which is how opaque is it. Okay, so let's create a function which takes four values, H, S, L, and A, and gives us a Pygame color object, which is that representing that color specified by those HSLA values. If that doesn't make sense, it's probably because I've said it in a weird roundabout way, so I will just do it and you'll see what I mean. So we're going to define a function. This time it's not part of a class. We're going to define from HSLA, and like I said, it's going to take four arguments, HS, L, and A. This time there's no self argument to be passed because it's not in a class. And we're going to write a comment that it returns a pygame.color object, color spelt the American way unfortunately, with the specified HSLA values. Okay. So this is kind of a weird way of doing it, but it works, so bear with me. So we're going to create a new Pygame color object, pygame.color, and we're going to pass it 0, 0, 0. It doesn't actually matter what we initialize it with, you'll see why in a second. Because then we're going to say color.hsla equals HSL and A. This sounds like a weird line, like why would we need this? But it's because you can't initialize a Pygame color object with H, S, L, and A values, or at least not that I know of. And so we're creating some color object with just any old color, we don't care, and then we're changing its HSLA attribute to be the HSLA values that we want, and that's going to change the color. And then we're going to return this color object that we just made. Okay, and so what are we going to do with this? Well, let's have a look at where we create the balls, and we see we don't specify here what the color is, but perhaps we should. So here, where we initialize the ball, maybe we should add another attribute called color, and we're going to spell it the British way because I like to be confusing. And we're going to add self.color equals color. And then we need to make sure that we update this draw method. So instead of just saying it's going to be red, we're going to draw self.color. Okay. But now when we create the balls, we need to specify what color we want them. So here we specify X, here we specify Y, this is the radius, and this is the elasticity. So we want to specify some color here, but we need to create, this doesn't mean anything at the moment, we haven't said what color is. So let's do that now. Okay, so suppose we want to go through the entire hue spectrum, the entire color spectrum, or like rainbow, out of all of the balls we create. So we need to go 360 degrees to go all the way around the color wheel. And so the more balls we have, the less far in terms of the angle we need to go each ball, as in on each creation of a new ball. So we're going to encode this in a variable called hue increment, not increment, and this is going to be 360 divided by n, where n is the number of balls we have, remember. Okay, and then at the start of each loop we create color. This is just a variable, and it's going to be a Pygame color object because that's what this function returns. We're going to call the function we just created from HSLA, and we need the hue value, which is going to be I times hue increment, because that's how much we want to increase by each time. That's going to be the hue, and then for the saturation we're going to say 40. Saturation goes between 0 and 100. So 40 is just a little bit undersaturated. We're going to go for 50 lightness, so just in the middle, and we want it to be completely opaque, so alpha is going to be set to 100. Okay. I think that should work if we run it. See? Excellent, so it does. So as you can see, we have a rainbow of balls where we cycle a little bit through the spectrum each time we create a new ball. We can even increase the number of balls, although they probably won't fit because of the radius, and we'll see that it still works, except because of how we defined the height at which they start, these ones are all on the floor. We can also just have, say, 2, and they will just be at opposite ends of the color wheel. So yeah, I said it was kind of a turquoisey, I guess it's more kind of like cyan. So that's the color that's at 180 degrees, I guess, on the color wheel. Okay, so I think that's it for this video, and in the next video we will do something else. I'm not entirely sure what we'll do, but you'll see. Okay.